Hello everyone, this is Shauna with I Heart Yarn and welcome to episode 2. Thank you very, very much for those of you who took the time to watch and comment on and hopefully subscribe to episode 1 where we discussed United and its little brother United Foursome that comes in the big giant cakes. As promised, one of you who commented on episode 1 is going to win this big giant cake of yarn. So let's get that out of the way right now before we dive into today's yarn discussion, which is about Remix, Remix Light, and wraps per inch. Get the drawing jar here. Okay. All the names that are in here. Let's see who's going to win this. Tallgrass 21, you are the winner of the giant cake of United Foursome, so congratulations. Thank you for commenting on that first video. Send me an email or a message on Ravelry letting me know the best way to get that to you, and congratulations and enjoy your yarn. Now let's get on to the yarn that we are discussing today, which again is Remix. It's a yarn by Berroco, and we stock both the worsted weight and the sport weight at Grandma's Spinning Wheel. I have worked with both weights and they are a pleasure to have on the needles or on the hooks either way. This is a really unique product. It's made from 100% recycled fibers. It is a mixture of nylon, cotton, acrylic, silk, and linen. You'll notice that there was no mention of any animal fibers in there. If you're looking for something that has no animal content in it whatsoever, this is a wonderful choice. You know, I live in Arizona. It gets hot. It's really warm most of the year. The day I'm filming this, I mean, here it is. It's the beginning of February and it's 77 degrees outside. So, there's a lot of the year that, animal fibers just aren't going to cut it. They're not going to be comfortable. They're going to be too warm. This is a really great choice. To that end, this shirt that I'm wearing, this is called the Francis Tee, pattern available on Ravelry, and it is made out of the worsted weight. Yes, it's a t-shirt from worsted weight, and it's comfortable enough to wear in warm Arizona weather. So how many different applications could you think of where you'd like something soft and squishy to wear that's not going to make you feel like you're roasting alive? I've also, with the worsted weight, I've done a baby blanket for a customer. It came out incredibly squishy and drapey and was wonderful, considering it was going to be going to a child who, again, lives here in southern Arizona, and wool most of the year is just going to be too warm. Both of these and their chunky weight big brother can go in the washing machine, and it's recommended lay flat to dry. I have sent one item made out of this through the dryer. It came out looking fantastic. So this is another one of those items where your mileage may vary. Maybe consider testing a swatch and see how it comes through your washing machine, see how it comes through the dryer more specifically. But it's a really utilitarian yarn, I have to say. Now the worsted weight has 216 yards per 100-gram ball, and the sport weight has 432 yards in a ball. Now, I've been calling this a sport weight. The manufacturer classifies Remix Light as a DK. They recommend a needle size 5, but here on the screen, I am showing you a swatch. The bottom half of this swatch was done on the recommended 5 that's listed on the ball band for the yarn, and the top is what the fabric looks like worked up on a US 3. As you can see, both are attractive. One is denser than the other, but they both feel wonderful. What this means for you who might be considering using it is that it's versatile and adaptable. If you're looking for a looser, more open fabric, you can work it on that size 5 or maybe even a 6. I personally wouldn't go up that high, and it's going to give you a very light, loose, open fabric like it did on this. This is the Scottish Highland Shawl by Kay Hopkins, and it was made with 2 colors of Remix Light. As you can kind of see, very airy, very light, and a very open fabric. This screen shows you what Remix Light looks like crocheted. The bottom section is using the 3.75 millimeter hook recommended by the ball band on the yarn. And the top section is the 3.25 millimeter hook that is more appropriate if you take the wraps per inch test readings or results into account. As you can see, both look nice and both feel nice. One is just visually and texturally a more open and loose fabric. The other is a tighter, denser fabric, but both are incredibly pleasant. Both are visually appealing. So again, there's a variety of patterns that this yarn could be used for, including some that call for a yarn that is finer than what is indicated on the label of Remix Light. This next shot is of Remix, the worsted weight on the needles, and this was worked on an 8 as recommended by the ball band, and as you can see, nice dense fabric. The shirt that I am wearing in this video, the Francis, I believe that is the needle size that was worked on as well. Because of the varied content, when you look at all of these skeins, maybe you can't necessarily see it from here, but all of these skeins, they have a slightly rustic tweedy appearance because there are so many different fibers in these mixes. How they manage to, with that kind of variety of content and the kind of different colors that appear in each of these skeins, how they manage to be so consistent across dye lots, I have to say I'm incredibly impressed. They come in incredibly consistent every time. Now, any of you who might already be familiar with this yarn or may have seen it, it does come in another weight. It comes in a chunky weight. And here is a swatch showing you kind of what that looks like. It's the exact same content and washing instructions and color palette, so forth, as the two finer weights. Grandma's Spinning Wheel does not currently stock this weight. It's a little heavier than what most of our customers are looking for. But if you would like that weight, we can certainly order it in for you. And for those of you who live elsewhere in the country where chunkier weights are going to be something you use a lot more often than we do down here in warm southern Arizona, maybe consider giving this one a go. Something else that we love about Remix and Remix Light and Berroco, the manufacturer that puts this yarn out, is that this yarn is very well supported. Yeah, just on Berroco's website alone, there are a whopping 51 patterns for Remix and 27 patterns for Remix Light. If you have never been to the Berroco website and checked out their pattern collection, do go check out what they have over there, especially for these yarns and quite a few others. There's lots of beautiful designs there. It's not uncommon for pattern books from Berroco to come into the shop. We go thumbing through them and I'm finding 5, 6, 7 patterns in a single collection that I look at those and go, wow, yeah, I'd make all of those. So you're not going to, when you go look at those pattern databases, you're not going to be finding, you know, a disappointing collection where you find maybe 1 or 2 things that you like. You're going to find quite a few, so you have been warned. Now let's break into our discussion about wraps per inch. It's something I mentioned in my first video, and obviously I've mentioned it in this one as well. There are a lot of folks who do not understand what wraps per inch stands for or why it's useful information to have. This is a WPI tool, a wraps per inch tool. While you can do wraps per inch readings on something as simple as a ruler, little tools like this that have a notch built in make getting a wraps per inch reading a lot easier, a lot more sure. You're not having to try and, you know, pin down the ends really well. But what you're doing with this yarn, with this tool, is you are laying in strands of what you're testing, and you're just gently laying them in that 1-inch section. You're not tugging, you're not packing down, you're just laying them down real gently right next to each other. And once you have your yarn laid into your 1-inch section, you go through and you count how many wraps you have in that. And then you go online, or if you have one saved on your computer, you go look at that, or if you're like my boss and you have it memorized, then you can figure out what you're working with. This yarn, the worsted weight Remix, the manufacturer listed as an Aran weight, you know, or 9 wraps per inch. I consistently get 8 wraps per inch, which puts it, in my opinion, more in the worsted weight category. Testing this one. It's listed as a DK weight, and it's listed at, maybe 12 wraps per inch. When you test it, I was consistently getting between 14 and 16, which places it in a finer weight category than what is classified as. Now, where does this information come in handy? One of the places that this comes in handy is when you're looking at a yarn and you're thinking, that looks awfully fine for what it's classified as. You might be right. And if you are, that might mean that a yarn can be used for more patterns than its labeling might initially indicate. There are quite a few yarns in Grandma's Spinning Wheel alone that, while they are listed as a DK weight, when you do a wrap French test on them, they're a great deal finer than that. That expands the possibilities of what you can use them for. If you have something in your stash that maybe you have a pretty good idea of what its fiber content is, but you don't know if it's an appropriate weight for your project, then you can use a whippy tool, wraps per inch tool, to figure out what weight that yarn is and if it's appropriate for the pattern or the project you want to use it with. I don't know about you, but I would much rather get a wraps per inch reading and use that to save time spent on swatching. Swatching is, in my opinion, important for times when fit matters and the exact size of a finished object matters. I would much rather do a wraps per inch test on a yarn and find out that it is either wildly inappropriate or extremely appropriate for what I want to use it on than spend time sitting there making swatches and swatches and swatches and swatches. Like I said, sometimes I believe swatches are important. I don't want to spend any more time swatching than I have to, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. So wraps per inch tool, very, very useful. There's charts all over the internet. All you have to do is Google wraps per inch or WPI chart for yarn, and a nice one will pop up, and you can use that to give you information on your yarn that maybe you didn't have before, and it just might expand possibilities. If you do not already have one of these cool little tools in your toolkit, in your craft bag, then leave me a comment on today's video. I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to randomly draw a name of someone who left me a comment on this video, and I will be sending you a whippy tool. There's more colors available than just the orange that I have right here, so I'll do what I can to send you one that's a color that you like. We'll discuss that when we figure out who's going to be the lucky winner. But if you don't have one, or if you would like another to put in one of your other craft bags, then leave me a comment. And again, if you aren't already, subscribe, little button down there. That way, when I put out my next video, you will find out if you're the one who's adding a whippy tool to your collection. One more thing I would like to announce. We are doing a yarn tasting, the spring yarn tasting of Berroco's new lineup on March 2nd through Grandma's Spinning Wheel. If you would like to participate in that event, please either give us a call or go on our website to purchase a kit. We have a limited number of seats for those who would like to do it in person in the Tucson area. Elsewise, I am also simultaneously hosting a digital version. So if you would like to kind of socialize with me online and you would like to try out some cool new yarns from Berroco, then you definitely consider joining us for the Berroco yarn tasting being hosted through Grandma's Spinning Wheel. Thank you very, very much for watching this episode. If you have any requests as far as subjects you would like to have me consider covering in the future on future episodes, or if there is a yarn that Grandma's Spinning Wheel sells that you would like to see me do a review on, please let me know that as well. Put that down in the comments or send me a message via email or through Ravelry message. Hope you are having fun, with projects right now. For a lot of people, that big holiday push is over, and a lot of people are doing what's called selfish knitting, or knitting for me, time of year right now. And whatever you're working on, I hope you're enjoying it. I hope it's adding to your life. Go out and make something that makes you happy.